Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to have a little bit of a chat and have a little bit of a rank of all of the EXs that have currently been released in Scarlet and Violet. Now, you might not think there's very many, but actually there's a bunch. Because over in Japan, there's been Scarlet and Violet EX. There were 12 in those sets, 6 in each. Incidentally, they are the 6 that are going to be coming in our Scarlet and Violet set. We've then got the free Starter X, featuring MIMIKYU, AMPHAROS, and LUCARIO. As a side note here, we do know that the MIMIKYU is coming as a promo in the MIMIKYU EX box for us. We don't know where the other two are coming. And then there's been a couple of promos in terms of KLAWE and Cyclizar as well, although again, we don't know how they're coming out in English. So there are 17 that are out in Japan at the moment. At least 13 of those we know how they're coming in English. Yes, I know that Triple Beat has been officially revealed in Japan. And yes, I know that Triple Beat does include some EXs. But we've not seen them all, and we've not seen all the other cards that come along with them. It's too early to include them in the list. So starting off then, in at number 17, we've got LUCARIO EX. This is 1 of the ones for the starter deck, 2 energy 60, 3 energy 160, and 50 to one of your opponent's bench. And what we've got here is a combination of an awkward energy to accelerate, and not hitting any key numbers. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, this one deserves to be low. In at number 16, we've got Cyclizar EX. I'm very happy that I have managed to pull this one from a pack, but I'm going to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a particularly good card. For a single energy, you do 30 damage, and you do get to search for a basic energy and attach it to this Pokemon, but you do very little damage and then stay in the active ready to take a hit. That's not a good thing. And then free energy, 180, and you can't attack next turn. Again, you're not hitting key numbers, and you're never hitting for weakness here. There's just nothing about this I can really hang my hat on. Now, in at number 15, we've got KLAWE EX. This is one I very much intend picking up as a single and whacking in my binder. I love the look of this card. I don't love the playability. Now, it's got a lovely ability whereby if it's active and damaged by an opponent's attack, you discard an energy from the attacking Pokemon, which is really nice. But the attack is free energy 100, flip a coin if heads 180. Well, even 180 isn't actually that great. You're not hitting key numbers. So again, it's too expensive. You're not hitting key numbers. I like that it's a basic, and I do like the ability. But the ability only really works in tandem with a decent attack, and I don't think we have a decent attack here. In at number 14, we have Gyarados. Now, this is actually one of the terrestrial Pokemon, and it's kind of cool, honestly. You see, what we've got with Gyarados here, it's very expensive. Free energy 100, 5 energy 180. If your opponent already has any damage on it, it does 360. And it's low because getting 5 energy on this and having to evolve from a Magikarp is a real pain. But it's got the potential to do 360, which is how it ends up in a not embarrassing section of the list. Now, in at number 13, we've got Toxicroak. And again, this one is fine, but there's nothing terribly inspiring. We got a stage 1. Single energy, search for any 2 cards and put them into your hand. And here's the thing, right? I like searching for any 2 cards for 1 energy on a basic, not as a stage 1. And then we got free energy, 120, plus poison, and you put 6 damage counters on rather than 1 during Pokemon checkup. And the thing here is that, yes, I very much like being able to, poison them. But the problem is, if I only get 1 lot of poison, I'm only doing 180, which is not good enough for free energy on a stage 1. And sure, if they stay in the active, the poison accumulates, but that's not really in my control. Now, in at number 12, we've got Iron Treads, and look, this is probably one of these ones that I'm overrating, because I love me some Donphan action, I admit that. But I kind of love this. I don't love the 4 energy 160 switch with your bench. But it's a basic Pokemon that for free colorless energy can do 30 damage to 3 of your opponent's Pokemon. That can start spreading around some damage quite quickly, and it's colorless energy on a basic Pokemon. And that's why I have this a little bit higher, because I can see the utility here. In at number 11, we've got ourselves a bit of the old AMPHAROS. This is another one of the ones from the starter decks. And the thing is, it's actually got a really nice attack for free energy that does 140, or 240 if you discard 2 energy, but it's on a stage 2. I like the attack, I like the damage, I don't like the fact that it's a stage 2, and that really hampers it. And in at number 10, we've got MIMIKYU, the last of the starter deck Pokemon. No, they're not very good. Sorry. Single energy, 30 damage, switch to the bench isn't terrible. And Psychic double colorless, 30 damage for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. I do think this attack is a little bit expensive, but I also think this is the kind of attack we've seen before that can get some really good damage on the board. So up to now, up to number 10, basically these are the ones that I just don't really like. Some of them have a little bit of potential, but we're moving into a second tier here, which is, it's not great, but these ones I do like a fair bit more. So in at number 9, we've got OINKOLOGNE. Now we've got a colorless Pokemon, which makes it very splashable. Single energy, 10 damage, plus 30 more for each of your opponent's bench. If they've got a full bench, that's 160 for a single energy. And sure, it's not hitting for weakness and you're not hitting key numbers, but 160 is still a lot of damage for a single energy. And then you've got a nice fallback, free energy, 210. It'll get a bunch of Pokemon V. It's fine. It's not great. I'm not saying it's great, but I am saying for a colorless Pokemon that can be teched into a bunch of decks, this is fine. Now, in at number 8, we've got MAGNEZONE, and the deal with MAGNEZONE is incredibly simple. I really like MAGNEZONE, but it's a stage 2. And that's basically where we fall down, incidentally. You see, MAGNEZONE's got 2 energy, 220, and it does 30 to itself, but that's fairly negligible. And for a single energy, 50 damage for each energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon in play. These are 2 very, very good attacks. But it's on a stage 2. And I do think that really, really hurts it. Do look out for though, because I do believe this is where we're going to start seeing some of these actually seeing a fair amount of play. Now, in at number 7, we've got Great Tusk. And this is probably another one that I'm going to be accused of overhyping because I love the Pokemon. And maybe that's true. But single energy, 40 damage, discard a stadium in play. The stadium hate is fine, but what I'm thinking here is basic Pokemon single energy. Basic Pokemon that are weak to fighting, this is going to be a legitimately good attack. And it can discard a stadium. And to be fair, you're talking about colorless Pokemon, you're talking about lightning Pokemon, you're talking about poison Pokemon being brought over as darkness. There are a lot of Pokemon weak to fighting. Doing 80 damage for a single energy turn 1 going second, I like this. And then free energy, 250 plus 50 to itself. It's again a bit expensive for a fighting Pokemon, but this can be one-hit KOing Pokemon V Maxes when you add a choice bout on there. And yeah, that's basically my reasoning. I whack a choice bout on here, and I'm getting one-hit KOs on Pokemon V-Star, and I've got a really good first attack, which admittedly isn't going to do huge damage, but is really good in any situation where I'm hitting for weakness and start KOing those weaker basic Pokemon. Yeah, this one I actually legitimately think is good. Now, in at number 6, we've got Koraidon, and Koraidon's really annoying to me, because I love the ability. But it ends your turn. It lets you attach 2 basic fighting from your discard pile to your basic fighting Pokemon in any way you like. And I really like this. But it ends your turn, so it's an early game or desperation thing. The attack is free energy 220, and next turn it can't attack. But again, if you're attacking, you're better off using Great Tusk. Because Great Tusk also, sure, it takes 50 damage, but it's got 20 more HP. You're using this for the ability. And honestly, in a fighting deck, I play a lot of fighting decks. I am probably going to play one of these in like every fighting deck moving forward because it's a great turn 1 option. Of course, you do have to have the energy in your discard pile turn 1 to use it. It is awkward as you like, but there's a lot of potential here. Now, I think here we're moving up a tier again. In at number 5, we've got Arcanine, and I think Arcanine could be really, really good. I think there is a lot of potential when we're talking about Arcanine here. Now, what we've got is a fairly beefy amount of HP, which is incidentally very, very relevant. Because the first attack, 2 energy, 10 more for each damage counter on this Pokemon. And let's not forget that Magma Basin is one of the best tricks that fire Pokemon have, and this will both accelerate the energy, good, and get damage on you so you can hit harder with this attack, good. So yeah, I do think this is like a legitimately good attack, which is going to see some love. But then we've also got free energy, 250, discard 2 energy. And like I said with Great Tusk, this means that you whack a choice belt on there and you one-hit KOing V-Stars. I like this. I think this one's got a huge amount of potential. In at number 4, we've got SPIDOPS, which is not one that I thought I was going to be hyping up, if I'm perfectly honest with you. But SPIDOPS has a huge amount of potential. It's got an ability that increases your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost by 1, but it doesn't say you can only apply 1 at a time, and it doesn't say it needs to be active, so yes, you can get multiple SPIDOPS out and be increasing your opponent's retreat cost by a lot, which is great. And then 2 energy, 90 damage, plus 30 more for each energy in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. 4 SPIDOPS out and you're doing a base 210 before whatever their retreat cost is. And I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, and plus, of course, you're going to be increasing their retreat cost, which is going to be frustrating them to no end as you go through the game, and this is one that I think has a lot of potential. Now, in at number 3, we've got BANETTE, and this is one that, this really could go either way. This could end up being an absolute top deck, or it could end up being a card which would have been good a few years ago. You see, single energy, 30 damage, your opponent can't play item cards next turn. It's on a stage 1, but it's still single energy, that's really good. Slow the game down, frustrate your opponent, poke away, etc. And then 2 energy, 60 damage for each trainer card in your opponent's hand, and yes, you get to look. So you basically frustrate for a while, take a big KO, and then go back to frustrating. I love that you only need 1 more energy to go from the frustrating attack to the big attack. And I just think there is a lot going on here that could make this a very, very good card. But I do think 1 and 2 are in a class of their own. I think 1 and 2 are a clear 1 and 2. And I will tell you, if you want to switch around the order, that is absolutely fine by me. I can't tell you for certain this is the way they're going to go. I feel good with my list. Just know that these 2 are the clear 1 and 2, and if you want to switch them around, I won't be upset. But in number 2, we've got Gardevoir. Now, the attack does 190 and heals all your special conditions, which are fine. The attack's not great. But the ability says, as often as you like during your turn, you may attach a basic Psychic from your discard to one of your Psychic Pokemon, and if you do, you have to put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. But what this basically does is it means that any Psychic Pokemon you want is going to be built up very quickly, and not only that, but what's really good here is that you're going to be essentially losing a Pokemon, it gets KO'd, and then you just like immediately pile a whole bunch of energy back on and off you go. This is a phenomenal card with one of the best abilities we've seen. I've had some questions as to whether it's the best ability ever. No. Incidentally, the best ability ever is Claydol. I feel pretty good about that, honestly. But in terms of an energy acceleration, I do think this is absolutely phenomenal. I do think it is a proper job. Top tier ability, and I do think we are going to see a whole bunch of this. But it is a stage 2, and that's a problem, so I'm giving the best EX we've seen so far to Miraidon. I'm in love with Miraidon. Now, free energy, 220, can't attack next turn. It's a fairly standard attack. We've seen a bunch of these that have a very similar kind of attack. The difference is the ability Tandem Unit. Once during your turn, you may search for 2 basic lightning Pokemon and bench them. The thing is, you can go for a lightning Pokemon and a Miraidon, and then go and search for 2 more lightning Pokemon, which could be a lightning Pokemon and a Miraidon, then go and get 2 more and you're good to go. My point is, you can get 1 Miraidon out here and just fill your bench. And every time you've got any space on your bench, you can just use Miraidon to search out basic lightning Pokemon. It is absolutely absurd. Not to mention the fact that Regieleki V Max is a thing, which will increase the damage done by your basic lightning Pokemon by 30. And this is a basic lightning Pokemon, and all of a sudden you've got what might be the best deck moving forward. If you want to swap Miraidon and Gardevoir around, I'm not going to be mad at you. These are clearly 1 and 2 for me, but I do think you could go either way. I think we've got a bunch of EXs which are already occasional techs in very specific decks at best. But I do think we've got some good ones already, and I do think that Miraidon and Gardevoir are clearly a step above the others. That's what I think. I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at LUWASI. That's where we talk about Pokemon and card games and Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can support the channel. You can get some bonus podcasts for answering all of your questions. You can join a Discord and chat with us about Pokemon or anything else. And you can get shout-outs on the channel like the lovely Eric Ridgway, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and seems at least to be a very, very lovely person. So thank you very much for all the support and for being a very lovely person. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.